Hey there, this is John from Heroes and Legends. During this difficult and trying time, we need to come together by staying apart. We all need to do our part to flatten the curve and save lives. Stay isolated and continue to social distance, wash your hands frequently and effectively, and help spread the word to others who don't understand how they can make a difference. Finally, I'd like to thank the real heroes and legends out there, everyone whose jobs are essential and are working hard every day for all of us. To find out more on how you can stay safe and make a difference, check out the World Health Organization's website at www.who.int. Hey there, this is John from Heroes and Legends. I hope this video finds you well. It's another day of Ikoria and Commander 2020 previews. We have a good number of cards to go over again today. Quickly, before we get into it though, just a couple things. One, if you're curious as to the sources of any of these cards, just check out the description below. You'll find out which content creator previewed which card. And secondly, if you go to flipsidegaming.com, you can still use the Heroes promo code to save 10% on orders over $10. However, currently they're not shipping out orders, so I just wanted to make everybody aware of that. Without any further ado though, let's get into it. First thing we're going to look at today are a series of variant cards that we have not yet seen before. Now, all of these cards we've already talked about in previous videos, so if you want to hear my thoughts, just check out the playlist. But these are versions of the cards we have not yet had a chance to see, so here they are. In white, we have Draneth Magistrate, that of course is the extended art copy. We have a promo pack copy of Flourishing Fox, extended art of Mythos of Snapdax. In blue, we get a showcase version of Dreamtail Heron. In black, 3 showcase versions and 1 extended art version. We have Cavern Whisperer, Chittering Harvester, Extinction Event, and Insatiable Hemophage. Red, just 1 card, an extended art version of Mythos of Vadrok. In green, we have Migration Path, and that's the promo pack copy. We have a showcase copy of Migratory Greathorn, and an extended art copy of Mythos of Brokos. Multicolored cards, all extended art copies here. Cheville Bane of Monsters, General Kudro of Draneth, Quartzword Crasher, and Rael the Everwise. Alright, let's move on to the new stuff, starting with the Ikoria previews. Cub Warden. This is a good limited mutate card. The tokens might be very relevant in some decks too. This really wants to be in a Cat Tribal Commander deck though, I think more than anything. Patagia Tiger. This is an okay limited card. I mean, it does have flying, which is very good in Draft or Sealed. It costs 5 though, and you have to ask yourself, are you always going to pay 5 for a 3/4 flyer? The answer is, maybe not all the time. But this does have another ability. When this enters the battlefield, target human you control gets +2/+2 until end of turn. And if you're in white, or Orzhov colors especially, you probably will have some humans, and that might just push this card a little bit more towards playable, but I don't think it's always going to make your cut. Sanctuary Lockdown. This is a limited card for the humans builds. Again, like I said, Orzhov is going to have a fair amount of them, it seems. A lot of human tokens out there. So if you're going down that road, especially in draft, this could be pretty good for you. Even some seal pools, this actually could make sense to run. Commander, and maybe more likely Brawl human decks could be interested in this too. This one's a Spanish language preview, Swallowing Bite, and this one is tough for me. I want to like it because it only costs 1 white, but you're jumping through some hoops here. It's a sorcery speed spell. You have to have a creature that you can tap to cast it. It's an additional cost. Yeah, sure, you get a +1/+1 counter out of the deal, but what if you don't have a creature? And then it can exile a target tapped creature. So it's good, and that casting cost does push it a little bit, but it's not the most amazing thing you're going to see. Maybe it could see some sideboard standard play, and I say sideboard because you don't want to main deck this against an aggro deck. It's not going to be very good for you. You're just going to get beat down, tapping down one of your creatures to get rid of something of theirs. So with all that being said, though, if you're playing Draft or Sealed, play this card. It's still going to be amazing removal for you. Capture Sphere, this one's a reprint, and it has flash. That's always nice. It's a quote-unquote blue removal spell, and when you play limited, you're going to be really happy to have it. Next, we have Escape Protocol, and this is similar to Astro Slide. I mean, it's not quite as good. Still, though, maybe there will be like a standard cycling deck with something like this in it. As I see more and more cards every day, I start to feel a little more confident that that could possibly be a thing. Nice card to have in limited, though, if you have a fair amount of cycling, especially in draft, this could be pretty good. Sea Dasher Octopus. This is a nice cheap mutate card with Curiosity built into it. That ability will be great with mutate too, and I also like the fact that this has flash. Flash cards with mutate have me really intrigued for draft or sealed. I think they're going to be very efficient, but There is something I don't love about this card. It does not have a triggered ability when it mutates. So if this does mutate, my opponent might have an opportunity to blow it up after everything resolves. And if I don't have a triggered ability, I could potentially get nothing out of the deal. Don't love that, but I think it's still a very good mutate card for Draft or Sealed. Maybe this could see a little standard play because it does have a cheap mutate cost of just a blue and 1. Maybe in Simic Flash or a new build, perhaps. Blitz of the Thunder Raptor. If you have enough instants and sorceries in Draft or Sealed, run this. This might be a little bit better in Draft, especially if you're in Izzet colors. But regardless, if you feel like you're going to get value from it, it's going to be a good card. If you don't have that confidence, though, going in, then maybe it just sits in your sideboard. For Standard, I mean, if a Spellslinger deck got there next season, which might be a long shot, then perhaps this could see some play out of the sideboard to deal with problematic Planeswalkers and some creatures. But I do feel like generally this card is a little bit narrow because it does rely on things in your graveyard, and it also can't go to your opponent's face. It has to hit creatures or Planeswalkers. Cathartic Reunion, this is another reprint. Good limited card, though, especially in this set. I think it's going to have some roles. There's cards that care about graveyards. There's a fair amount of recursion we've seen so far in the set. Some cards care about discard. Generally, even in a vacuum, this is a good card to play if you have some dead draws and you're trying to hit some heat. Standard, something like this could potentially push the Izzet Phoenix deck. We've been talking a little bit about that over the course of the week. We have seen some cards that might complement that strategy. Is it enough, though, to get past the fact that Narset exists in the format? I'm not completely sold, but this card maybe gives it a chance. Forbidden Friendship, this is a 2 casting cost sorcery that's going to give you 2/2 power toughness on the battlefield. That's going to be fine for you in Limited, especially if you have a reason to go wide. Also remember, the tokens could come in handy as fodder sometimes or chump blockers, and the human especially could interact with some other cards that you have in your pool. This won't always make your cut, obviously, but sometimes you'll find yourself playing it, I think. Go for Blood, fine limited fight spell here. I like that it has cycling, and it's cheap, just 1 to cycle it, because that way if you are ahead, or maybe you have no creatures on the battlefield, you can cycle, try to hit something else. Tentative Connection, and Rakdos Menace aggro seems to be a thing in the limited environment, especially in Draft. You might be able to put that together and make it real solid. This would complement that strategy for sure, but regardless, this is going to be a good card even if you have to pay full price for it. These type of effects are always good in Draft and Sealed. It's a wolf. It's a bear. It's an exuberant wolf bear. Okay, so this is a fine limited card. I mean, even if you don't read any further, 4/4 for 4, especially considering it's just a green and 3, not 2 green and 2. Yeah, those are decent stats. That alone might push you to play a card like this sometimes. But the ability is good if you have other humans, and again, there are a lot of humans and human tokens in the set we're seeing so far. When this attacks, you may change the base power and toughness of target human you control to exuberant wolf bear's power and toughness until end of turn. So if this isn't buffed, turning like a 1/1 human into a 4/4 seems pretty decent. And in some cases, this could be bigger too. Thwart the Enemy. One-sided fog effects can be fantastic combat tricks in Limited, especially during board stall situations where maybe an opponent thinks they finally have the upper hand. They attack in, you surprise them with this. Doesn't hurt when you can fit it in to run at least one of these. There's also sometimes opportunities, because this is a common, to run multiples of these and try to do like a turbo fog type thing. And again, considering this doesn't impact your creatures, it's better than a regular fog effect. Frondland Felidar. This is a rare. You're not going to see it all the time in Draft or Sealed, but if you have the opportunity to play with it, you really should try to, because this is going to be a bomb. So a Vigilance creature, 3/5 for 4, 2 different colors. So far doesn't sound super exciting, but check out the ability here. Creatures you control with Vigilance have 1, tap target creature. So this on its own could be good. Tappers are always really powerful in Limited if you just play them in the traditional way. Tap down a big creature defensively, tap down a big creature to get damage across. They always provide a ton of value, especially when they only cost 1 to activate. Now, this has Vigilance. You could actually attack with this card, and then before blockers are declared, you can pay 1, tap, and tap the blocker. And guess what? This card is still attacking. Now let's go a step further and say you have a second Vigilance creature that can do the same thing, or even a third. Not out of the question, especially in Draft, because there are going to be other Vigilance creatures in the set. We have the Vigilance counters floating around too now. Yeah, one of these is good. Combine this with another Vigilance creature or two, and that could be game ending sometimes. Lord Drachis, another cheap mutate cost. I really like that. And this is perfect for Izzet. This is what Izzet wants to happen. Whenever this creature mutates, return target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard to your hand. Potentially, if you have a lot of instants and sorceries, this could create a fair amount of value for you. But even if you only mutate like once or twice and you pull back a removal spell or two, that could be game-changing on its own. This one's a Portuguese language preview, Savai Thundermane, and this is also the Boros Signpost card for limited. And this gives you an idea of what Boros wants you to do. They want you to cycle, and if you do that enough, they're going to give you some benefits for doing it. And this card is pretty sweet for Drafter Sealed, actually, especially if you have even a handful of cycling cards in your deck. It's a 2 casting cost 3/2, granted 2 different colors, but those are nice stats. Whenever you cycle a card, you do have to pay 2 to activate this ability, but if you do, it deals 2 damage to target creature and you gain 2 life. Now, it's not hitting players, it's not hitting planeswalkers, but doing 2 damage to creatures in a Drafter Sealed game while you cycle, that feels pretty good to me, especially considering you can cycle at instant speed, sometimes surprise your opponent. That could really shift a board state into your favor. This one's a German language preview, Cunning Night Bonder. I like this a lot. Let's talk limited first. It's a 2/2 for 2, granted hybrid mana, but still, it has flash on top of it. And check the ability out. Spells you cast with flash cost 1 less to cast and can't be countered. So there are a lot of flash cards in this set. We've been seeing them all the time. Some of them have mutates, and being able to maybe even get a mutate reduction on top of this reduction feels like it could be pretty good, right? This is an uncommon, not out of the question. You're going to find these floating around. So especially in a draft, you might be able to string together something really nice around this card. Standard? Yeah, I think I would try this out in Simic Flash. I think it could be good enough to stick there. Loris of the Dream Den, another really good rare here. You're going to appreciate this in Drafter Sealed if you have a chance to play with it. It is a companion. Each permanent card in your starting deck has converted mana cost 2 or less. That's the stipulation. But read that carefully. Each permanent card, so not all your cards, just your permanents have to be mana cost 2 or less. Now, even if you don't make this your companion, there's still tons of value to be had here. It's a lifelink creature that's kind of nice, but check out the ability. During each of your turns, you may cast 1 permanent spell with converted mana cost 2 or less from your graveyard. So it will go from your graveyard to play, but it is being cast, remember that. So you know when you're playing Drafter Sealed, you're going to have a lot of 2-drops, maybe some good 1-drops even from time to time. There's going to be plenty of targets as the game goes on for this, and just consider as you start to not only play the cards from your hand, but also have access to creatures that maybe died, perhaps you traded them in combat. You're going to find a lot of value with this card over time, and again, it could be enough value to push you ahead. Beyond limited, I think this could see play in standard, maybe in some kind of an aggressive build that has a lot of small creatures, like a white aggro build or an Orzhov aggro build. This might even see some Pioneer play. I think you could try this out in like a Jeskai and Soul deck. Okay, let's move on to Commander 2020 previews. So just a quick reminder, we've left Ikoria now, so these cards are not standard legal. They are from Commander 2020, which means they can only be played in the Eternal formats. That would include Commander, Legacy, Vintage, for example. So yesterday we saw a lot of new cards from these products, but today there's 6 more brand new cards that didn't quite make the video last night because they came out either really late or early this morning. The first one is Cryptic Trilobite. This kind of feels like a mana battery creature, but you can only use the mana for activated abilities. Don't worry though. That doesn't stop this card from having countless combos in Commander, and you can probably think of a bunch of them. I'll get you started. This, Hardened Scales, Cave Guru Spores, feels like that's a good start. But yeah, there's obviously tons of things you can do with this card. You're going to see this one quite a bit, I think, in the future. Avenging Huntbonder is next. It's a human warrior that has double strike, but also can give out a double strike counter whenever this attacks. It goes to another attacking creature. Yeah, if you can keep attacking in, if you have an aggressive build with a lot of evasion, this could be pretty brutal. Vitality Hunter brings back Monstrosity, and this is cool. I mean, you have a lifelink creature that you could potentially pump up 2 white necks for the Monstrosity cost there. And it starts off as a 3/4 for 4, so it's already at least sort of sizable. But what I really like is the second part of the card. When this becomes monstrous, put a lifelink counter on each of up to X target creatures. So as long as you have enough creatures, you could give a whole bunch of things lifelink. And remember, right now in Commander, those life gain decks are very popular. A lot of players will want to pick this up as an addition to those. They've been hot ever since Theros Beyond Death came out, bringing us Daxos and Heliod and some other cards that have really promoted that strategy. Fierce Guardianship is the next card, and this is the last card in the cycle that you get to play for free if you have a commander in play. And this one is my favorite. Now, we saw the other 4 yesterday. The white one was really, really good. The black one was amazing, and this one I think is fantastic. So, counter target non-creature spell. Doesn't counter everything, but a lot of times this is going to be a free effect for you. This is just basically an auto-include now. I think if you're playing blue and commander, competitive commander decks are going to enjoy having this. This is going to be highly sought after. I think to some degree the whole cycle is going to be sought after, but especially the 3 colors I mentioned, blue, black, and white. And it's a good thing that we have collector boosters now to push out more copies of these cards into the environment, because you can get Commander 2020 cards in the new collector boosters for Ikoria. Surly Badger Soar. This will be good in a variety of different strategies, actually cycling, Madness, for example. There could be a fair amount of decks that could be interested in picking up a copy of this. Slippery Bogbonder. I like this one a lot too. It has flash and hexproof. It's a 3/3 for 4, and whenever this enters the battlefield, put a hexproof counter on target creature, then move any number of counters from among creatures you control onto that creature. You could attack in basically with almost anything if you're running like a +1/+1 counter strategy, and then flash this into play and really get somebody, right? That's one way to look at this card, but even just playing this in like an enchantment deck, having this with hexproof, having another creature with hexproof, and then putting some auras on those creatures, putting some equipment on those creatures, yeah, that could get out of hand too pretty quickly. Just in general, giving your commander hexproof, that feels like it could be pretty good. And remember, it's not just about +1/+1 counters. We now have all these keyword counters. This is going to be another highly played card, I think. All right, a little bit of a shorter video today. I will tell you, at the time of recording, though, they have released all 5 of the Commander 2020 decks. There are a number of reprints in there. They haven't shown the new version of the reprints yet, though. I assume they're going to show those tomorrow. If they do, I'll do a really fast recap at the end of the video where we look at all the reprints that we haven't seen yet. Until next time, though, hey, thanks for watching. Stay safe, stay home, take care of yourself, take care of each other. Please remember to like and subscribe, and have a great day. Hey, thanks for watching. This video is made possible through the generous support of viewers like you on Patreon. Check out the description below for links to our Patreon page, as well as our Amazon affiliate store, where a small percentage of all sales will also help support the channel. Finally, if you haven't had a chance yet to subscribe, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of the new videos on Heroes and Legends. Talk to you again soon, and have a great day.